All right, guys, so it's your girl Drea, and I'm finally back to talk about the topic that I posted not too long ago. What is the difference between monogamous relationship and ethical monogamy, or some people call it not ethical non-monogamy, right? Those two are interchangeable. And so this video is probably going to be in parts just so it's not too long. So I want to always start with what it is. And then eventually we'll get into, and in talking about what it is, you'll start to hear, some benefits and, differences, or for some people, maybe dislikes. But whatever it is, I want you guys to get active with me. I want you to drop it in the comments. So if you're seeing this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, like it. If you're on Instagram, follow me, comment below, whichever platform. I want to hear from you. All right, so monogamy versus, we're just going to keep it simple for back and forth, ethical non-monogamy, all right, or just non-monogamy. E&M. So what you need to understand that they do have different structures altogether. There's different levels to it, different types of love. And, this love thing is a big thing that's going around on my platform. We done talked about, love languages. We done talked about intimacy equals sex and love. But anywho, when we're talking about these two areas of relationships or dynamics of relationships, there are different structures, different level of love, different levels of morality, different levels of commitment that falls within the relationship structure. Okay, the main distinction of it is how the partners in the relationship define the exclusivity, and that is the key to whether or not it works or don't work, whether it's for you or not for you. Now, if we take the traditional monogamous relationship, right, that is one and one partner together, exclusive, and it's y'all two. There is a relationship agreement between the two people. That's it. Okay? A relationship agreement between the two people that they decide to commit to one another emotionally. They're exclusively emotionally, exclusively loving, exclusively loyal, exclusively dedicated, exclusively everything to those two people in between this space. And that's your traditional monogamous relationship, right? And for time and time again, we hear it all the time about, some people are not made to love one person. Or some people, you'll hear, I've heard even in my own girlfriends where they'll say, if I could take the traits of this person and that person and that person and that person and put it all together, then I could probably make the perfect person for me, right? But that's not always the case. But regardless of whatever it is, and again, to each its own, respect to all types of relationship and what your decision is. And this is a judgment-free zone, okay? This is just conversation, all right? This is just a discussion. This is just bringing awareness, because a lot of people weren't even aware of E&M, ethical non-monogamy. So let's talk about the common characteristics of a monogamous two people commitment and a relationship agreement between two people and what that typically looks like, right? So we have one romantic or sexual partner at a time. We are committed, me and you. That is it. We are just locked in, okay? So there's only one romantic, one sexual partner at a time. We have clear expectations between you and me around the exclusivity of our relationship. And there's no little leakage on the outside. It's just us. Whatever is in between this is our exclusivity. And this is what we agree on. This is where our expectations are hopefully communicated, because that's a whole nother topic I could talk about effective communication, but how we have communicated to one another, sending and receiving messages and understanding what our agreement, our arrangement is going to be between you and I. We are exclusive, just you and I. This is often socially and culturally reinforced more times than not. I think that statement in comparison to where things are now, because again, we are having a discussion. I do therapy sessions for people who are struggling and want to explore these different type of relationships and seeing what is for them and breaking the traditional norm or the socio-cultural norm, because they realize that they don't fit in that box anymore, and that's okay. And then there's some people who cannot see the other side of it, and the tradition is all I know. I want to know it, whether it's committed to my religious aspect or faith or spirituality or just me as a person, my cultural and traditional upbringing, that may all play a factor in it. So whichever socio-cultural environment the persons may live in usually reinforces it. Okay. And usually in the monogamous relationship, it's emphasizing long-term partnership. I mean, all relationships really, but it's like, hey, me and you until the end of time. That's it. So we're getting married, we're having a family structure, and we are never going to deviate from this come hell or water, right? That is the intent behind it. And of course, we know, though, with marriages or long-term partnerships, that they're not always successful. And honestly, this is how a lot of these outer relationships becomes conversations in monogamous relationship, and it's a truth. Some people want to stay with people, but they may long for other things, or maybe they're willing to now venture out of that clear one-on-one conversation and talk about other agreements or arrangements. But in sticking yet still with the monogamy, I mean, realistically, there are benefits for, being monogamous. It's simple and it's clear. It's me and you. You know my expectation. I know your expectation. Hopefully that was effective communicated. So there's fewer relationships dynamics to manage because we're only managing you and I, right? It does give more of an emotional security because some people just feel safer with exclusivity. They may not feel safe knowing that I'm not having all of you. It is a focused investment of time, of energy, intimacy. Is concentrated on just the one relationship, right? So everything that I'm giving is poured into you and vice versa, and we are focused and locked in. Social support, monogamous relationships are widely understood, worldwide, and they're mostly accepted. Now, again, in today's time, that language, conversation, dynamics are changing. But yes, socially supported, it's probably in a higher bracket for most, okay? And then there's lower logistical complexities. So I don't got to worry about splitting my time with anyone else because it's you and me. Let's plan. We can calendar share. We can talk about it. We can talk about our boundaries. We have our effective communication layers. Like it's just me and you. So it's just us two having to navigate these things, nothing else. Now with benefits also comes challenges, right? And so some challenges in monogamous relationships is that there could be a pressure for one person, from that partner to the other person, to meet all of the emotional, all of the sexual, and all of the sexual needs, right? And you can have partners that drives change over time. And I'm not just talking only about the physical drive, but spiritual drive, emotional drive, being present, those change over time. And if someone's drive drops, it becomes pressure to still show up, to still be able to give. And that could become a challenge in a relationship where they're no longer kind of jiving on that same plateau. There becomes a risk of stagnation. I mean, creativity needs to be part of exclusivity. If communication doesn't grow and neglect starts to happen, a relationship can become stagnant. It can become stale. And it's the work and the responsibility of the two people to keep it engaging, to keep it interesting, to keep it spicy, to keep it, drawn in, to keep it mentally, emotionally, intellectually, engaging. So there is a risk that if both parties don't continue to pour into the relationship, that can become stagnant. And lastly, there could be jealousy and infidelity, which can occur despite exclusivity agreement. So we agree that, hey, it's me and you, but now my partner started looking at someone else, but they're not doing anything else. I get jealous. I feel insecure. because you're stepping out of the boundaries. And although we can talk about it, I don't want you looking at no one, right? I don't want you doing anything. But jealousy and infidelity can still occur. And the reality of it is, as people, we do build different type of relationships in life. However, an intimate partner relationship is based off of how we define it. So those are your benefits of your monogamy relationship. And so you tell me what you think about monogamous relationship. Is that your thing? Stay tuned for part 2, and I'm going to drop some gems on what ethical non-monogamy relationship benefits and challenges are.